based on the conversation we had, I think we're going to split him into probably 4 or 5 tiers, guys. Is that right?
Yeah.
First, hey, this guy makes up for your mistakes. So tier 1, you're an 8-win team if you surround this guy with absolute scrubs. Tier 2, good enough to win a Super Bowl. We know that they can do it. Tier 3 needs the perfect situation, needs help. You're probably, if somebody calls, you're looking at an additional solution. And at tier 4, you're shopping at Aldi's, man. You're going to take any quarterback that fell off the back of a truck. You need something to keep you moving. So we're going to run through PFS list going into the season this year. I know that Aaron's got that up, and we'll kind of dialogue on each one of them as we run through. And with that, Aaron, take it away, man.
Well, I mean, any quarterback conversation really has to start with the guy in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes. So, I don't really know what else to say about the guy that hasn't been said. The arm talent is incredible. He can move around in the pocket. He's mobile. He's great at breaking down defenses, extending plays. Personally, for me, what I love the most, we've all watched so much Patrick Mahomes over the last few years. They've had a ton of primetime games and Super Bowl games and whatever the case may be. But when he is in the pocket, he's so good at avoiding sacks. He just has this supernatural ability to kind of sense where pressure is coming from before it actually comes to him. And he just kind of slides left or right or forward in the pocket so that when the rush does break through, he's like a ghost. He's gone. And I just love watching him work. I mean, he's a surgeon back there.
Yeah. Hayden, shoot.
No, Mahomes he's the top quarterback in the league. If I had to pick one quarterback to lead my team, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, and I think you're crazy to pick anyone else. What are your thoughts, Drew?
So a couple things about Mahomes. Aaron, yes, ghost-like in the pocket.
Man.
Terrible hair. I mean, I love what he's going for, but we got to do something about it. I don't know what it is yet, but we got to do something.
No, he's already making commercials about his hair. That's like Troy Polamalu calling card now. That's not going anywhere.
That's true.
Dude, the only guys who wear their hair like that are getting their asses beat in Denver by some Phoenix fans saying Suns and 4. Those are the only guys wearing their hair like that. But no, so the other big piece, right? So you got the perfect marriage with him and Andy Reid. As long as Andy Reid is there and they have the creative offense and they do all of the things that they do, Mahomes is at least walking into every season the number 1 quarterback in the league. Aaron Rodgers proved him wrong last year, at least per PFF, but he's the guy. Last year, he finished second in big time throws. The one thing I didn't like, top 3 in turnover worthy plays at 23. He does force the ball, but he has the weapons to do it.
Yep.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to win you Super Bowls. I mean,
he wouldn't be Patrick Mahomes if he didn't force the ball in the windows like that. I mean, that's part of it.
You're right. Oh, I mean, you're right. That gunslinger mentality, the BDE that guy walks around with. What's his over under career Super Bowl titles? I mean, I think it's 3.5. I mean, I think that's where you'd set it if you're Vegas, right?
How old is he? 24, 25?
25.
He's 1-1 in Super Bowls. Man, I don't know. If you're saying 4 Super Bowls, how many quarterbacks have won 4 Super Bowls like ever? Tom Brady,
Montana, Bradshaw. I don't have the list in front of me, but I know those 3.
I mean, that's pretty rare company. But I mean, I could see it happening if they can kind of keep the band together, if they can keep Tyreek Hill around and Travis Kelce around, and Andy Reid doesn't have a massive coronary at some point in time. They could definitely stack up a few for sure.
I mean, Hayden, check me on this, but I think they have the core of that team kind of together here, all under contract for the next 3 years. They retooled the offensive line in the offseason. I mean, for the next 3 calendar years, if healthy, they're the walking favorites every year. I mean, they walked into a buzzsaw in Tampa Bay, who was just clearly fired up and ready to play them this last Super Bowl. But I don't know, man. I still think 3.5 is a fair number. I think he's just good enough over the next 7 years that he'll win one just on God-given ability.
Talent alone. Well, and if there's one thing that I question about him, it might be the killer mentality type deal. Like they won the Super Bowl in 2019, and last season you just kind of felt like they were just coasting. I mean, there were so many games where, I mean, like the bet of the year was the Chiefs, like Chiefs at half or Chiefs after the first quarter when you could get them like under a touchdown or something like that. They just seemed like they just had like a really bad Super Bowl hangover, and they would just rely on, Pat Mahomes doing his thing in the second half, bringing them back and winning the game, and which he's good enough to do that. But I guess I'm just curious to see if he can have that Brady, that Kobe, that Jordan really FU mentality to really drive it home and get to that point.
I don't know, man. I'm not putting a lot of stock into last year. COVID year was weird. No fans all season. Isolated from your friends and family for most of it. A constant COVID test, everything else. I mean, 2020 was just an odd year, man. We saw, I mean, the Miami Heat made the NBA Finals, for God's sakes. Like, it was a weird sports year. I'll be interested to see, like, with Arrowhead bopping and everybody kind of back on Sundays, what that feels like. But to your point, great teams do that, though. I mean, you see that, and particularly in the NBA, I guess it's different. But I keep referencing the NBA because I have the playoff game on, so I just keep looking up and seeing like NBA advertisements. I'm like, yeah, son of a bitch, this league.
Dude, I'm gonna have a custom-made crutch with the words COVID year emblazoned on the side of it and have it shipped to your house. Like that is COVID year, 2020, COVID year. What do you want to do?
Come on, man. Arrowhead is one of like the top 5 fan environments in the league, and they had no fans. I mean, that's a huge thing for them. I mean, you could say the same thing for Seattle. And when you looked at all of the metrics for home teams last year, they all performed worse at home. Defenses were all worse across the board at home. And like that has something to do with it. I'm not here to tell you that like, fans will save you 3 tutties a game or anything, but like, third down on the red zone, I think that noise and that distraction makes a difference. And I think players will tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's going to cause you to have to come back and like the majority of your games in the second half on the road and at home, but I guess we'll put a pin in that one.
It's hard to get up for a game when the fans aren't there, man. You're not juiced in the beginning. You fall down. It is what it is.
Well, he's going to have no excuses this year. The fans are back. They're coming off a loss in the Super Bowl. They should have max motivation. So yeah, anything short of a Super Bowl win for them will be pretty disappointing.
All right. So Patty Mahomes, tier 1. Yes.
Patty Mahomes is tier 1. I don't know. I mean,
all right. Who's next up?
I'm going to go against the grain a little bit. I know there's probably a lot of people thinking Rodgers or maybe even Brady, but I'm going with Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson, I know he specifically violates what you're saying about what this first tier is, and it's like basically guaranteed.
And women apparently, but
sure, yeah, guaranteeing 8 wins with just this guy on your roster. But I think we have to take a look and look at the circumstances that Deshaun Watson played under last year. I mean, we'll brush the massage stuff aside for just a minute here. The Houston Texans are probably the most poorly run franchise in professional sports. Just horrible trades, horrible draft picks, just making bad move after bad move. And this guy did so much last year with so little. They only won 5 games, but they had no offensive line. They had no receivers. Their worst coaching in the league, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. He completed over 70% of his passes, led the league in yards, led the league in plays over 20 yards. He played through injuries. Yeah, I guess the only thing you could really say about him, he took too many sacks because he was just playing hero ball, trying to throw that team on his back. But I mean, and then throw on top of that, he rushed for almost 500 yards and another like 3 touchdowns or something like that. This guy, if he can sort out the legal stuff and get his life together and get back on the field, he could be the best quarterback in the NFL. He has that potential.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think he's a top quarterback in the league. But if we're doing it in our tiers where if he's going to win you 8 games regardless of the roster around him, then I'm not sure he's going to fit in there just based off of last season. But again, like you said, Aaron, they had a awful surrounding cast around Deshaun Watson last year. The rushing attack was pretty much non-existent. I'm sure that'll improve this year with all the dinosaurs they're bringing in. Yeah, I don't know. He's a top quarterback, and I think he deserves to be in the top tier. But yeah, I don't know. How about you, Drew?
So I'm actually going to side with Aaron here. I'm going to give Deshaun Watson tier 1, but with an asterisk. That he's clearly shown that he can't win us 8 games by himself. But also, like, Deshaun Watson won, what was it, 4 games last year? Was it 4 games?
5.
5 games. Yeah, but he did it with like concrete shoes on. So like,
Yeah.
I can't even fault this guy. They traded away DeAndre Hopkins. They ran JJ Watt out of town. Fuller, who would arguably be their next best weapon, is literally hurt all the time. He's not played a full season ever. And it's like, he comes out, he'll play 1 game. He scores 2 like 42-yard touchdowns on just fade routes because he runs 1 route. It's just a go. And then he like pulls a hammy on like the 3rd route he runs. And It's just like, all right, cool. And that's it.
Does this guy stretch, or does he just show up and like just sprint down the field?
Man, I don't know. There's guys that you just have to wonder, like, either A1, how seriously do you take it? Because realistically, when there's soft tissue injuries, like, there's stuff that you can do. Scientifically, where we're at now, there's like the electrodes and like all these things they can do to their bodies beforehand to like get them gassed or ready to go. And you just have to wonder how seriously some guys take it, which, granted, if I'm Will Fuller, I've probably been the best player at my position my entire life with minimal effort. So you just kind of walk in and do it, right? But
I guess it's pretty hard too when like the top 15 massage therapists in the area have been scared off by the quarterback. So you got to
it's 23 now.
Scrubs.
He's officially hit like the Air Jordan number of sexual assault cases.
But like Will
I'm
Fuller's
sure
not
Michael's
even
proud.
on that roster this upcoming season. Like, he's in Miami now.
No, he's in Miami.
Yeah.
He's in Miami.
Yeah, no, I agree with
So-
you. So I think looking at his like big time throw versus turnover worthy play, which I'm going to reference a lot during this pod, but I think there's value in that, right? If you're truly a good quarterback and you're not like getting lucky, when you got to force the ball somewhere and you have to make a play, like that number should be a positive number. And Deshaun Watson had more than Aaron Rodgers with a less percentage than Brady. Adjusted percentage wise, he was 3rd in the league last year behind Rodgers and Mahomes. And I'll take that out of a quarterback any day.
All right, so Mahomes, Watson, tier 1. Who else are we going to throw in there? Rodgers. We got room for Rodgers in tier 1.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
48 touchdowns for a 37-year-old guy is
Yeah.
bonkers. I mean, I know Brady gets all the love for being like the best old quarterback, but I don't think he ever threw almost 50 touchdowns at this point in his career. Like, there's nobody that I'm more scared of in a 2-minute drill than Aaron Rodgers. Like, if you're down, like, or if you're up like 4 or 5 points against the Packers.
Yeah,
and he's
Aaron, fuck off. We're both Vikings
Yeah,
fans. We
I
get
was
it,
just gonna say
okay?
we know
Yeah,
all about
fucking
it. You
seen
don't gotta
it.
explain it.
he's
Yeah.
haunted your dreams
Yeah,
forever.
we see it twice a fucking year. It's a nightmare. Yes, thank you. Jesus. No, he'll. I mean, the Packers are probably the favorites to win that division as long as he plays, no matter what. Like, yeah,
Yep.
he's gonna win you 8 games, regardless of what fucking Marquez, Scantling, Allison, Geronimo receiver they put out there. Whew, okay, after a quick break, a teary last session there. I definitely had the giggles. Aaron just buried his head in his hands. We're gonna move on from a little bit. We're gonna move on from Aaron Rodgers. Tier two. Aaron, who leads tier 2?
I mean, I think you got to go with Brady. I mean, some people are going to say, oh, it's disrespectful not to have Brady in the top tier, whatever. I mean, you can tell at this point the physical tools have really kind of dropped off a little bit. I mean, he can still get the job done, but the throws have a little bit of a loop to him. He is looking a little more statuesque in the pocket. I mean, he has to have like the best QB brain of all time. He's just such a straight up winner that you really can't put him any lower than 4th or 2nd tier really on this list. Scoreboard basically. But yeah, he's doing it now this time with a strong offensive line, a good run game, a couple of really good receivers with Mike Evans and Godwin. He's got a couple of tight ends that can catch the ball, I guess, Rob Gronkowski, whatever. So yeah, Tom Brady leads off tier 2 for me.
I love how you led that with he's got some guys to catch the ball when those some guys are like Chris Godwin's, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown. Like it is easily the best wide receiver room in the league, and it's not particularly close. So I appreciate the disrespect he threw all of those guys. But to Aaron's point, tier 2 is right for Tom. We saw at the tail end of his New England tenure that he was no longer put the team on his back. He was going to figure it out, make all the throws necessary, and just pull like the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning impersonation that we saw for like 10 years. Tom Brady is the best quarterback to ever play the game. It's not disrespectful at this point to say at 74 years old while you're drawing Social Security that you need a little bit of help. But I would say if there's anybody in this that I gave an asterisk to Deshaun and put him at tier 1, I would say that Tom is like tier 1.5. Like just his brain probably wins you 5 games just by uploading his consciousness into the playbook. It's like, oh yeah, okay.
That feels weak to me. He's not going to like call you and bitch at you about this. He's tier 2. He's not tier 1.5. He's tier 2. Hayden, back me up.
I agree with you. He's tier 2. I am wondering, this might be a little off the track here, but how do you think he would have done if he would have stayed in New England? There's no chance he wins a Super Bowl last year, right?
No. But it's one of those things that's impossible to figure out because if they keep Tom, maybe their draft picks are different. Maybe they make different offseason moves. But still, even so, they probably don't. That Tampa Bay roster, top to bottom, was so much better than New England's.
Well, yeah, Hayden, I'm sure that
probably
throwing to Julian Edelman again, we're definitely going to get them to a Super Bowl.
like a crippled Julian Edelman as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was something that didn't quite make the news cut, but did you see N'Keal Harry might get cut? He was a first round draft pick 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and he might not make the 53-man roster this year.
Yeah, they picked the wrong Arizona State wide receiver that year because the other kid went to didn't he go to San Francisco? Or am I a year off?
I don't know. Who was it?
Who was the kid that went? There was another kid on that roster that went to he went to San Francisco and he had a big year last year. Or might have got drafted this year. I'm all over the place. Don't mind me.
Not Ayuk, right?
Yeah, it might have been Ayuk.
He was drafted last year, yeah.
Whatever, man.
Oh, Brandon Ayuk.
Give him my
okay.
Yeah, give him my COVID crutch, Aaron. I'm
COVID year. COVID year.
Fucking COVID year, man.
Who's next?
All right.
I can't let this go any farther without bringing up my man Russell Wilson. He's definitely a tier 2 guy, 100%. He's just above average, borderline elite at every single category, except for just sometimes throw the damn ball away and stop taking so many sacks. But he can still run. He still has a lot of power with his throws. He's still accurate. He had a super weird season last year. He looked like he was front running the MVP race for the first half of the season, and the wheels just came off big time in the second half. I don't know if he was just trying to play hero ball too much and he broke down, or maybe there was some kind of lingering injury, but he fell apart in the second half. But he absolutely is still definitely a tier 2 guy. You could absolutely win a Super Bowl with this guy. He probably should have more. You wonder if he would be higher on this list if they had just handed Marshawn Lynch the damn ball in that Super Bowl and he had 2 rings instead of 1. I feel like the whole perception of Russell Wilson would be so much different.
I don't know that the perception would be different. I mean, every ESPN show loves Russell Wilson. And I completely agree with you. I mean, you can win the Super Bowl with Russell Wilson. I don't think he's going to win you 8 games by himself. But I would argue that everything everything Deshaun Watson does that we talked about, Russell Wilson also does. But it seems like what Russell Wilson has to try harder to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think Deshaun Watson is just a little more athletically gifted. He's taller. He's got longer arms. It comes to him a little more easily. And Russell Wilson is the classic, like, I'm from Wisconsin and I have a baseball background. So I
NC
have
State,
to
have some respect.
He went to Wisconsin also. He went to both schools. He transferred.
He played 1 year at Wisconsin. Big Cat talks shit about this all the time because they claim Russell Wilson in Wisconsin. So he's a Badger. It's like he was there for 1 year. NC State played 4 years.
Whatever.
So are you telling me that Russell Wilson he's the Drew Brees of Deshaun Watson type quarterbacks? Just a little too short?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, Drew Brees to his physique, I guess. Drew Brees is so flattered by that.
I think he belongs in tier 2. It could be my Vikings PTSD, but every time he has the ball, it's a game-winning drive, like at the end of the game. So that he always scares me in those situations. But it is the sacks, like you said, Aaron. 47 times he was sacked last year. Just throw the freaking ball.
He just will not throw the ball away.
Yeah.
He just won't do it.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, let's go to Buffalo. It's Josh Allen time. Josh Allen's tier 2.
God, he's such a bitch.
I don't know why you guys hate him so much. This guy,
I don't.
listen, not only did he complete an incredible nice 69% of his passes last year, but that was also just like such an FU to all the pundits and critics that were like, oh, your throwing accuracy never really gets better, and he's never going to, be able to throw the ball accurately enough to be an NFL quarterback. No, he took such a huge leap forward. I'm thinking he could have like a Big Ben career. He's like a faster Big Ben. He's this huge guy. He's got a big arm. He can figure it out. I don't know. If he can continue to progress mentally, he could be a serious force in the league for a lot of years.
That'll get you excited, Bills fans.
If you shake your head anymore, Drew, I think it's going to come off. Why don't you tell me what's on your mind, bud?
No, I want Hayden to go here. I'll close this one out.
I do like Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen. His completion percentage has increased every year since his rookie season. So that's what I like to see in a quarterback. He can run the ball if he needs to. I like him in the tier 2. I think after his performance last year, you have to put him in there.
Yeah, I can agree with that point. Another, I think, overlooked piece of what you guys are saying here about his accuracy improving every year is Buffalo has done a really good job as an organization about improving the talent of players he's throwing to.
That's fair.
I'm trying to find who in God's name the best receiver was. Kelvin Benjamin was his best receiver the first year he got there.
Did they have?
So yeah,
they had Smokey Brown that year too, didn't they? Or no?
I think that was the year prior. I don't think he ever played with him.
Okay.
Yeah, so Kevin Benjamin's their number one receiver. They added Cole Beasley. They've added some nice tight end targets. And then, they got Stephon Diggs. So, I guess that helps. His completion percentage, adjusted completion percentage, 78.7 last year. League average was 76.3. It was a very strong year. I would argue that he's still more effective as a runner than a pure passer at this point, which, it doesn't hurt in today's NFL. But as he gets older, what does that look like? In that big time throw versus turnover worthy play percentage that I mentioned, out of these quarterbacks we've mentioned so far, he is the only one with a worse turnover worthy play than big time throw percentage, which leads me to believe that maybe there's still some of that Wyoming Josh Allen. Hey, I'm going to close my eyes and chuck it and hope the guy down there is good enough to go.
He's trending in the right direction. He's trended better and better every year. That was his second or third year in the league?
Third year, I believe.
Third year. Yeah, I like the kid a lot. We're going to have some interesting decisions, though. So, all right, Mahomes, Watson, Rodgers, tier 1. We have Brady, Wilson, and Allen on tier 2 so far. How much room's left on this bus? I feel like there's a lot of shade being thrown at a former MVP, Lamar Jackson.
Oh no, tier 2 is a van. Tier 1 was a sedan. Tier 2 is a van. There's 6 guys in tier 2.